So we are here at the stables, but before the horses arrive here, it's a whole journey behind the scenes, logistics. Must be a big operation to get them here. How do you start organizing this whole process?
Well, we're in the athletes' village, if you will, for the horses. So they have to get here first. So it's got many aspects to it, and it's changed immensely over the decades. For now, the European-based horses, it's a reasonably convenient journey for them. We have a central mustering point, typically out of Liège in Belgium now, but in the past we've flown out of Schiphol in Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, various airports. But Liège has a very good facility. So once we've determined the aircraft we're using, we have the horses arrive there. Some of them, particularly if they've traveled, let's say from Ireland, so they've had 2 ferry journeys before they get to continental Europe.
Exactly.
They might arrive a day or 2 early, or horses that have come from other parts of the EU. For the Belgium, Dutch, and some of the German horses, it's a pretty easy drive to Liège. And there's a great facility there for them where we prepare all the paperwork and make sure that all the teams have done things. And then this year we used a 747, challenge accepted, aptly named, and it had 66 horses on board. And we really try, because the sport horses are really, elite athletes, we try to have them fly business class.
Yes.
So we have double stalls for them, make sure that we've done the load plans so we're not having the stallions too proximal to the mares. When the horses are on board, the cargo is loaded first, so that would include things like the flowers from Holland, all of the tack boxes. This year, of course, the championship jumps from Paris are part of the cargo coming over, and of course the Rolex Grand Slam trophy. So all of that's put on board, and then the horses are loaded on in a configuration that's done well in advance for weights and ballasts. And when you get inside an empty cargo 747, it's like a huge rail yard. So the pallets move around on the plane, and they're all configured accordingly. Once all of the flight plan has been established, now basically it's a 9-hour flight to Calgary. Once they arrive in Calgary, we're met with working in cooperation with the airport authority and border services and the federal veterinarians. So all of the horses are brought off in an organized manner on the pallets, which again is very different from former times. And as they come off the pallets, their passport is compared to the chip that's in their neck to make sure the proper horses have arrived and all their health records are in good shape. We walk them around for 10 or 15 minutes at the airport because they've got, flight legs, and they've been standing for upwards of 12 hours at this point. Horses can relax pretty well on the plane, and when they're flying, we keep the temperature between 15 and 18 degrees Celsius, so they're a little less active.
Yes.
And we just make sure that there's plenty of water, lots of carrots, and all those types of things on the plane to keep their mind off the flight. From there, they're loaded onto transports, and they're brought to Spruce Meadows to what we call the transit lounge. And when they arrive here, all their temperatures are taken by the tournament veterinarians. Make sure we don't have any shipping fever or coughs or any of those kinds of things. And their grooms have then met them, and they generally like to walk them around for an hour or so, make sure they're drinking water, make sure their fluids are good, their temperatures are good, and then they adjust to the Calgary weather. And as you know, it can be a number of different ways when they arrive here, but typically they get used to the altitude when they arrive, and they also acclimatize to the cooler evenings. We don't notice horses generally being affected by jet lag, but they have new water, they have new feed, they have and they have the cooler nights here because we're almost 1,500 meters above sea level.
Yeah, wow, that's a whole story, and that's. And then after everything's done here, the Grand Prix is done, how much time do they need to, the horses and so, do they need to fly back? When will be the flight back?
So we will finish the Grand Prix at about 5 o'clock local time on Sunday. At about 7:30 the first p.m., about the first of the cargo will start to go out, what we call the cookie sheets.
So they have a little time.
That'll all get out and staged at the airport, and the horses will all have that evening here, but all of the non-essential cargo and things that are returning to Europe will be sent out. The plane will arrive, it'll be staged, all the pallets will have the shavings and fresh water put in them, all the feedstocks will be put in, hay nets will be filled, and then starting at about 9 a.m. the next morning, so the horses will have a full night and their breakfast and all that. Perfect. The first horses will start to the airport. Loading will commence at about 10 o'clock in the morning. The flight will leave at 1 p.m. and then it's a 9-hour flight back to Liège.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
interesting story. Yeah. It's so interesting to hear this, everything behind the scenes, because we see these horses compete in the grass ring and it's fantastic, but the world behind the scenes is even bigger than what the audience can see in front of the scenes. So it's very interesting talking to you. Thank you for explaining. Thank you so much, Ian.
You're welcome, Jeroen.
Thank you.